Welcome to the Tech Mobility Podcast, brought to you by Playbook Investors Network, your strategic partner for unstoppable growth. Visit pincommunity.org to get started.
I'm Ken Chester. On the docket, a new assembly process that makes crash repairs cheaper, how Finland eliminated homelessness, and how AI agents help consumers find cars. To add your voice to the conversation, be it to ask a question, share an opinion, or even suggest a topic for future discussion, call or text the Tech Mobility Hotline. That number, 872-222-9793, or you can email the show directly, talk@techmobility.show. From the Tech Mobility News Desk, the fallout from the discontinuance of the EV credits last year continues. No doubt you have read a lot in the newspapers, online, wherever you get information, this show, about how automakers are rethinking, retrenching, and writing off billions of dollars in losses as they pivot away from EVs. Now, let's be clear. Automakers may be changing their commitment to EVs, but they have not, and I repeat, they have not abandoned completely. And I'm talking about GM, Ford, Stellantis. They all still build EVs. Toyota, they all still build EVs. Now, to a point, they are recalibrating and going more in hybrids because, honestly, folks, that's where the market is. And this is to y'all that have said, well, the government's making us stop. The government never made us do anything. They were giving incentives for EVs to promote the company, just like they underwrote highways, just like they underwrote many different industries throughout history. Not new in the United States, not new in the world, actually. What's different is that the consumers took a look at the numbers and decided the hybrids made more sense. So consumers voted with their dollars. And I don't care whether you're a big multi-billion-dollar corporation or the corner coffee shop. When the customer turns, you turn with the customer or you're out of business. The latest carnage in this area is the Sony Honda mobility joint venture. They actually had started production of their first vehicle they called the Afeela 1, which was an electric sedan. They were going to follow it up with the Afeela 2, which was sort of a crossover-like vehicle. They've put the full brakes on bringing out either one. Not going to happen. Now, bear in mind, they started production of the Afeela 1 last fall. They spent the money. They built the plant. They put in the equipment. They trained the workers. These folks were building the first prototypes and production models with an eye towards going on sale this year. So they stopped. They discontinued an active assembly line. This is different from canceling a program that's out on your schedule a year, 2 years, 3 years, where you're saying, no, we're not going to do that, like Ford did, like GM did, like Stellantis did, like Honda did elsewhere. This is part of Honda's $15.8 billion reset in EVs. This venture, while not dead, is definitely on pause. Now, the question that I had is I got to thinking about this. I said, okay, I could understand if the Afeela did not have the appeal in America. But Europe is still looking at EVs. China is still looking at EVs. Why couldn't they just pivot and sell that way? Well, it turns out that EV demand globally is down. And I quote, this is an automotive news article, and I quote, lackluster product appeal in Asia. Well, they engineered the vehicles for the U.S. market predominantly. Apparently, they did not really think that they would need to pivot to Europe, and they don't even mention China, which tells me either their value message wasn't right for China or their price point definitely wasn't, because they were looking at charging, I think, $88,000 for the Afeela 1, and the Afeela 2 was either at or just over $100,000. So it's not going to happen. The article continues and says that Honda was caught out more than most of its Japanese competitors because it was the most aggressive in buying into an EV future, plowing billions into EV production hubs in the U.S. and Canada. You might remember the Honda Prologue. They made it for 1 year. And actually, they didn't make it. They engineered it. GM built it. Again, a vehicle in production. After 1 year, they stopped making it. They discontinued it, which meant they had to pay GM some money and the suppliers involved. What people don't understand when automakers do this and why it costs so much money is it's not just them. You built a whole supply chain of smaller manufacturers building different components for a number you gave them that you expected to sell that year, whether it's 10,000, 50,000, 100,000 units. And if you're building widgets and it takes 4 of your widgets per vehicle, and you got the contract, the sole contract to provide those widgets, then you went back into your supply chain, you ramped up your production, you rearranged your factory floor, you made the necessary investments to support that effort at that level of production. So when an automaker tells you the program's dead, they're under contract to make these suppliers partially or completely whole, because they probably either they spent money, they invested money, they may have borrowed money, they may have went to the stock market or the debt markets to get money to support this program. Hire employees, build a plant, or significantly remodel a plant. And these are plants you never see that are not just around the United States, but in theory, around the world. Because building vehicles on planet Earth today is a global effort. I don't care if you're in China, Germany, or the United States. Nobody is making 100% of what they sell down to the screws and everything in that country. Nobody. Not even the ones with high U.S. content are not 100%. So if the Afeela doesn't have appeal in the United States, it doesn't have the appeal in Europe or China, the only thing to do is put the brakes on. And what they're saying is we would lose more money than the hit we're going to take now. But as I mentioned last week, and I wonder seriously, with everything going on in the world right now, relative to the availability of crude oil and the price and the resulting price of gasoline in the United States right now, which is significantly up, it don't matter where you live. I thought that the price point or the pain point would be higher. Turns out it's not. Turns out that at $3.50, $4, $4.50, people are reconsidering EVs. So I wonder right now if maybe some of these auto manufacturers should slow down. That maybe they might be in a place where, okay, you may not be able to make all of your investment back, but if gas is going to be high and it's going higher, because right now nobody knows how this is going to end just yet, it may be where the public actually turns their attention towards EVs again, simply from an economic standpoint. And right now, a used EV is gold because you're not paying the high price and it doesn't burn gasoline. And the cost of operation is way low. And if you can buy one that's 2-3 years old, you'd be in the money right now. And the dealer that offered to you would be glad to have it because they'll have a vehicle they can sell. So the question is it too much, Honda? Did you go too far? And if so, can you get some of it back if the market changes again? Or are you locked? Ford's new gigacasting process will actually make crash repairs cheaper. Who knew? You're listening to the Tech Mobility Show.
In business, opportunity doesn't wait. and neither should you. At Playbook Investors Network, we connect visionary entrepreneurs with the strategies, resources, and capital they need to win. Whether you're launching, scaling, or reimagining your business, our network turns ambition into measurable success. Your vision deserves more than a plan. It deserves a playbook that works. Playbook Investors Network, where bold ideas meet bold results. Visit pincommunity.org today.
Are you tired of juggling multiple apps and platforms for meetings, webinars, and staying connected? Look no further than AONmeetings.com, the all-in-one browser-based platform that does it all. With AON Meetings, you can effortlessly communicate with clients, host virtual meetings and webinars, and stay in touch with family and friends, all in one place and for one price. Here's the best part. You can enjoy a 30-day free trial. It's time to simplify your life and boost your productivity. AONmeetings.com, where innovation meets connection. Get started today and revolutionize the way you communicate.
To learn more about the Tech Mobility Show, start by visiting our website. I'm Ken Chester, host of the Tech Mobility Show. The website is a treasure trove of information about me and the show, as well as where to find it on the radio across the country. Keep up with the happenings at the Tech Mobility Show by visiting techmobility.show. You can also drop us a line at talk@techmobility.show.
Every great business starts with a spark, but taking it to the next level takes strategy, connections, and capital. That's where Playbook Investors Network comes in. We're your strategic partner for accelerating growth, navigating challenges, and capturing market opportunities before your competition does. Your business is more than an idea. Let's make it an impact. Playbook Investors Network. Your future starts here. Learn more at pincommunity.org.
Like your GM car?
Yeah.
Want to keep that great GM feeling?
We sure do.
Then shake hands with Mr. Goodwrench. He's dedicated to improved customer care at more than 6,000 participating GM dealers.
You want genuine GM parts. You want your car fixed right, on time. That's what I want, too. Caring about your GM car helps keep me in business.
Keep that great GM feeling with genuine GM parts.
That was from 1977. And the concern back then was the importation of fake parts that did not qualify or weren't rigidly tested to the same engineering standards as the original parts from the manufacturer. And very often, at least back in the day, people were led to take shortcuts, they thought, in order to keep your vehicle going, save a few dollars. Problem is, the manufacturer is out that money, and worse yet, if the parts were inferior, that could blow back on the manufacturer. So there was this big campaign. Genuine is the key word there. Genuine GM parts bought from a genuine GM dealer, meaning that these parts met all the legal requirements and manufacturing requirements, same as the original parts when the vehicle was built. Was a big deal then, and theoretically would be a bigger deal now. But vehicles are so sophisticated anymore that you'd have to get awful sophisticated to make fake stuff, and it just doesn't make sense. So in a way, the sophistication of vehicles have actually helped bring down a lot of this fake stuff to where I wouldn't say that the issue is gone. Let's just say it's less of an issue for so many reasons. And there's just too much risk. The Ford Motor Company is betting on what CEO Jim Farley calls the most radical change at how to build vehicles since the Model T. And that this change will not only lead to lower sticker prices, but also smaller repair bills. Sounds too good to be true, doesn't it? The automaker is joining the growing list of manufacturers that are combining hundreds of smaller components during assembly with several unicastings. Used primarily by Tesla, it's also referred to as gigacasting or megacasting. The statement by Farley sounds counterintuitive to me at first blush. Welcome to Topic A. Ford's upcoming midsize EV pickup will utilize these large aluminum castings in the front and rear instead of hundreds of smaller parts. Here's the key. Research shows it could be cheaper to repair. Now, what do you think about this? They're talking about making one casting out of 30, 40, 50 parts that go into like a front end cap or rear part of the vehicle. And you got to wonder to yourself, okay, if I'm in a wreck and one of these gigacastings gets damaged, how is it going to be fixed and how is that going to be cheaper? And at some point, if it's really damaged, is the insurance company just going to total the vehicle? I mean, after all, right now, if you're in an accident where the airbags are deployed and the front is sufficiently deformed, the insurance company will typically total the vehicle. Reason being because even fixed, that the structures are not back to the same structural integrity as before because they had been stressed, meaning that the safety features embedded in them may not perform the same way under the same situations, meaning that the insurance company could be left hanging out there liable, and they would rather total the car than to put one that has questionable safety equipment back on the street and try to insure it. That ain't going to happen. So that's my question. That's my predominant question in this Automotive News article. The technique is meant to reduce manufacturing costs and complexity, but it raises questions about repairability. Will customers' bills skyrocket if collision centers have to replace one large component instead of smaller pieces? And more importantly, would those parts be readily and widely available? The early research shows that in some instances, vehicles made with large castings are less expensive to fix. And here's the important part. As long as they are intentionally designed that way from the beginning. At GM, they used to call it design for repairability. Designing a vehicle from the outset to be easily maintained. And they're taking this to the next level when you stop to think about how many different ways a vehicle could be damaged in an accident. How do you even manufacture or design going to a unicasting design now to accommodate all of that? Here's what they said. What we quickly found that is actually easier to repair a vehicle that has unicastings, that is Alan Clark, Ford's executive director of advanced electric vehicle development. He told reporters recently, when you make it a constraint that it needs to be repairable at specific speeds because we see customers actually having accidents at those speeds, it actually creates a bunch of creativity with engineers who figure out the easiest way to repair it, and it ultimately becomes an advantage. A British company did some crash tests and teardowns between a Tesla Model Y with gigacastings and a Tesla Model 3 built the conventional way. Now, it's important to note that both the Model Y, which is a crossover, and the Model 3 are based off of the same architecture. But one was built using the mega castings. The other one was built with the traditional number parts. Here's what they found out. In situations that required partial replacement of the gigacasting, the Model Y cost nearly $3,000 less to repair than a similarly damaged Model 3. Let me say that again. The Model Y with gigacastings, with castings that incorporate what could be tens or hundreds of parts into one part, costs $3,000 less to fix. That is totally counterintuitive the way that's working in my mind. Even for a full gigacasting replacement where you had to replace the whole thing, the Model Y was still $700 cheaper to repair than a Model 3. The study found that many rear-end low-speed crashes resulted in no damage to the gigacasting. Some crashes at higher speeds necessitated full replacement, but they found the cost to be roughly in line with a traditionally assembled vehicle. Can you imagine? They say this is going to work. And if they can get it built cheaper, then they can mitigate increases in sticker costs and actually lower both the cost of buying it and the cost of fixing it. It's what they're talking about. I just wonder about vehicle integrity and how the insurance companies are going to view this, because they're talking about cutting and gluing as opposed to welding. And to be honest with you, most vehicles today, you'd be surprised at the amount of glue that is used to put together metal parts. It's not all welding. You'd be surprised. So, while homelessness is a serious problem across most industrialized countries, Finland has found a solution that has eliminated the problem. This is the Tech Mobility Show.
You've got the drive. You've got the vision. Now you need the right partner to make it happen. At Playbook Investors Network, we power ambitious leaders with the tools, insight, and investment connections to move faster, grow stronger, and lead markets. We're more than advisors. We're your co-pilots in success. Because in business, standing still is not an option. Playbook Investors Network, fueling ambition, delivering results. Visit pincommunity.org.
Did you know that Tech Mobility has a YouTube channel? Hi, I'm Ken Chester, host of the Tech Mobility Show. Each week, I upload a few short videos of some of the hot topics that I cover during my weekly radio program. I've designed these videos to be informative and entertaining. It's another way to keep up on current mobility and technology news and information. Be sure to watch, like, and subscribe to my channel. That's the Tech Mobility Show on YouTube. Check it out. Homelessness. While this is a major problem across most of the world's industrialized countries, Finland has been at the forefront of eliminating the problem. Starting in 1987, the Finnish government first set a goal to eliminate homelessness, complete with trackable metrics to monitor progress. And while the initiative has had its challenges over the years, the government's ability to stay on task has yielded impressive results. Could this happen here? This is Topic B. If you are a citizen of the world, if you are a person that is concerned about your fellow man, I mean, the Bible says that the poor you will have with you always. But you have to have some sensitivity for folks that, through no fault of their own or through a combination of experiences, has no safe place to lay their head. And you see them on the street, and you got to wonder, yeah, I can give you money today, but will that solve your problem? It might feed you today. That might temporarily give you some relief right now. But for me, I've wondered why the world's richest economy couldn't resolve this problem. And then I ran across this article. Let me share. Finland effectively addressed homelessness by adopting the Housing First model, which treats stable housing as a fundamental right, a fundamental human right, rather than a reward for solving issues like addiction or unemployment. Let me read that again. They solved it by adopting Housing First model, which treats stable housing, hear the word stable, as a fundamental human right, rather than a reward for solving issues like addiction or unemployment. Let me make this simple for you. If a person wants to work, if you're going to report to a job, you need two things. You need an address, because they want to verify that, and you need a phone number. Two things you need. Also, like most of us, when we get home, home is our sanctuary. Home is our safe space. Home is where you can sit down, relax. Those four walls, that residence is your safe place. Imagine if you didn't have a safe place, sanctuary. How can you function if you don't know whether your little stuff and your little world is protected? Here's what Finland did. Under their Housing First principle, individuals are provided with a permanent, independent apartment without preconditions. For example, being sober is not required to receive housing. A systemic shift. The country moved away from temporary emergency shelters to investing in long-term supportive housing, often turning shelters into homes. Third thing, support services. Tenants receive tailored on-site or mobile support services, ensuring they can manage their finances, health, and social relationships. Fourth thing, collaboration. A strong partnership between the national government, municipalities, non-government organizations, notably something in Finland called the Y Foundation, allowed for purchasing and building sufficient affordable housing. How many people are on those streets either because they were escaping an unsafe house situation, they got sick, lost their jobs, because they couldn't work, they couldn't pay their rent, they're out in the street or sleeping in their car or worse. People that have mental challenges, either directly where they need intervention or due to some sort of previous substance abuse or alcoholic problem. These are human beings, folks, that need help. They talk about cost effectiveness. Although the initial investment is high, providing housing reduces the overall societal cost of policing, emergency services, and medical care for the homeless population, not to mention crime. If you're in a stable location, you feel safe, you're safe, there's no need. As of recent years, Finland has nearly eradicated homelessness, with the homeless rate dropping to 0.8% of the population. 0.8%. Let me give you some context in the United States of America. As of 2022, we had a homeless rate in this country of 1.75 folks per 1,000. By 2024, it got worse at 2.3 folks per 1,000. In a country of roughly 340 million people, that is just shy of 800,000 people that don't have a safe place to be, not to count the number that are children. If we, by comparison, had the same rate of 0.8% like Finland has, that number drops to just over 27,000 from almost 800,000. Do the math. We feel, and honestly, we have this thing about handouts. We feel everybody's on the take and everybody's trying to game the system. But we have people who are sick, who need help, who are in bad situations through no fault of their own, that are out there in the elements. I looked at Iowa just for an example, looking at the United States, breaking this down. In Iowa, we seemingly, according to this, doesn't have a real bad problem. On 3.1 million people, they estimate 2,600 are homeless. Compare that with California at 187,000 or New York at 158,000. Or even down in Texas, you want to go there, 26,800 folks are homeless in the state. It matters up north because weather is unpredictable and extreme, and these folks are exposed. But we treat it that you got to get cleaned up first. You got to get a job first, which is almost impossible. If you don't have an address and a way for people to contact you, it's impossible. Or a place where you can hang your clothes, get a clean shower, get cleaned up to go to work. You don't have it. But oh no, we make that a condition of getting clean or sober when it's the other way around. Help me get stable first, and then I can work out my problems. That's the path Finland has taken. They're not a big country. They're not even as wealthy as we are. And this information actually comes from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development Office for International and Philanthropic Innovation. They actually issued the report. They know how to do it, people. But as a country and as just decent human beings, can we help the less fortunate of which many are veterans? Can we help them get stable? Can we get past the not in my backyard attitude and actually make a way for these folks to get some stability in their lives, which is the first important step to getting back on your feet? We're the richest country in the world. There's really no excuse for this, not at this level. Almost 800,000 of our fellow citizens are homeless right now in this country, and we can do better. We can. We should. And to be blunt with you, we must, because there's no excuse for this. You don't throw people away. You don't ignore folks. It's bound to happen. Car buyers are using AI agents to find their cars. Dealerships are taking notice. We are the Tech Mobility Show.
Are you tired of juggling multiple apps and platforms for meetings, webinars, and staying connected? Look no further than aonmeetings.com, the all-in-one browser-based platform that does it all. With AON Meetings, you can effortlessly communicate with clients, host virtual meetings and webinars, and stay in touch with family and friends, all in one place and for one price. Here's the best part. You can enjoy a 30-day free trial. It's time to simplify your life and boost your productivity. aonmeetings.com, where innovation meets connection. Get started today and revolutionize the way you communicate.
To learn more about the Tech Mobility Show, start by visiting our website. Hi, I'm Ken Chester, host of the Tech Mobility Show. The website is a treasure trove of information about me and the show, as well as where to find it on the radio across the country. Keep up with the happenings at the Tech Mobility Show by visiting techmobility.show. That's techmobility.show. You can also drop us a line at talk@techmobility.show.
In business, opportunity doesn't wait, and neither should you. At Playbook Investors Network, we connect visionary entrepreneurs with the strategies, resources, and capital they need to win. Whether you're launching, scaling, or reimagining your business, our network turns ambition into measurable success. Your vision deserves more than a plan. It deserves a playbook that works. Playbook Investors Network, where bold ideas meet bold results. Visit pincommunity.org today.
Did you know that Tech Mobility has a YouTube channel? Hi, I'm Ken Chester, host of the Tech Mobility Show. Each week, I upload a few short videos of some of the hot topics that I cover during my weekly radio program. I've designed these videos to be informative and entertaining. It's another way to keep up on current mobility and technology news and information. Be sure to watch, like, and subscribe to my channel. That's the Tech Mobility Show on YouTube. Check it out. Recently, a couple of tech-savvy consumers constructed AI tools to help identify and buy their vehicles. It seems that the tools work for both new and used, bypassing traditional listing sites and dealership websites. It seems that vehicle shoppers comfortable with AI are a small but growing part of the car buying public, and the dealers are, in fact, taking notice. This is Topic C. Let me quote some numbers for you, because you know me, I love numbers. According to the 2025 Cox Automotive Car Buyer Journey Study, 25% of new vehicle buyers last year relied on artificial intelligence tools in the shopping process, and most were highly satisfied. On the flip side, roughly 63% of dealerships, that is 6 out of 10, view investing in AI tools now as critical to their success. So what's going on? Remember the strength of what AI tools can do. They take just mountains, I should say mountain ranges of data, and in seconds, crunch it down based on the parameters and the prompts that you give it. Way more information reduced to manageable bytes than you could do on your own. Give an example. Let's say you were looking for the best mid-size crossover SUV that was a hybrid, that was 2 years old, 2 to 4 years old, that would go for less than $25,000 and have no more than 30,000 miles. And you are willing to consider a range of 500 miles, 500-mile radius of your current location. Now, today, you would get the typical third-party sites would come up. Maybe some dealers would come up, and it's not usually a really good match because then you got to slog through and still, after all of that, get down to brass tacks. But what if AI just knocked out all of that for you? My first business, back almost 40 years ago, was helping people through the steps of buying a vehicle. My first company was called the Auto Buyer Plus Corporation. I did all the legwork based on my knowledge of the industry, what the customer wanted, and helped them down to everything, including evaluating the car they want to trade in, the vehicle they wanted to buy, financing. We even offered a service to actually run the paperwork down to the DMV so that they would have it and be done with it. Wouldn't have to wait on the dealer. Did all that 30 years ago. By the mid-1990s, with the rise of the internet, I saw the handwriting on the wall already, because crowdsourcing was growing and they could research a lot of this by themselves, for themselves, without having to set foot on a dealer lot and do a lot of the homework before you got there. Now with the rise of chatbots and everything, if you go on a dealer's website now, they've captured you. And if you interact with that chatbot, you may get a phone call before you even leave the site, particularly if you give them name, phone number, email address. They will follow up immediately. Even if you're not ready, even if you're still thinking about it, not ready. And with the way that things work, Google will pester you half to death if you've gone to a couple of websites looking for a particular model. That's all you see. Imagine if AI cut all that out and got right down to the brass tacks and said, here are 3 vehicles that meet your parameters within 500 miles that are under 30,000 miles and for less than $25,000 that are 2 to 4 years old. Here are 3. Awesome. Then it's a matter of, negotiating with the dealer, taking the test drive, because some stuff is not going to change. But let's look at it the other side from the dealer's point of view. If you've got a realistic, motivated buyer who's done their homework, they've seen a car in your lot, they want to buy it, they know what it's going to cost, they're realistic about it, they may have even gotten their financing already, which is, could be a bane. It means they're approved. Okay, give us the chance to beat the number. But you've got a ready-made customer ready to buy. And if they did not have to spend money to do business with these third-party services, could you imagine they might even consider splitting the difference of out-of-pocket with you to give you a lower price still? Let me give you some numbers, because I saw this and I did not know this, but I do now. This, again, is automotive news. A typical franchise dealership spends more than $500,000 a year on advertising. And that's according to the National Automobile Dealers Association's 2024 annual financial profile of franchise new car dealerships. Third-party listings like Edmunds and Kelly's and that take up 21% of that spend. They spend per dealership per year over $114,000, almost $115,000 per dealership. Now, just imagine with AI, and they don't need to fool with the third parties. They don't have to spend that money. Could it get you a better deal? Because now their costs are lower? It would make them more profitable, but it would give them more room, and that's better for you. Quotes this one Mazda dealer, and they give an example that they spent just on what they call third-party leads, almost $14,000 per month. They sold 29 vehicles in 1 month. Those leads cost them $471 per car sold. Now, if you know anything about dealer markup, let me tell you, that's a big chunk of money. And if you're buying and selling a Mazda 3, a Mazda 5, they are, crossover SUVs, the markup ain't phenomenal. So if I've got 471 on the hood before I even include what the dealership needs to make, the salesman needs to make, and profit. It gives me less room to make you a good deal or a better deal, because I've got 500 large in this deal already before I even talk to you. That's a lot of money. They expect right now 56% of industry leads, people coming in to buy a car, come from these third-party sources. 12% of consumers right now search for vehicles using AI sites like Car Edge, and there's another one. And we've talked about Car Edge, actually, and Car Gurus. AI is going to be a thing. There's an opportunity for consumers to get a better deal. There's an opportunity for dealers to save money. The people in the middle, the third-party buying sites, are the ones that are going to get squeezed. The question is, will they rotate to the new challenge or will they go away? It's part of technology. Technology, a lot of times, reduces the cost by squeezing out the inefficiencies in a process. And AI is no different, particularly when it comes to car buying. So look for more of it.
This is the Tech Mobility Podcast.
Every great business starts with a spark, but taking it to the next level takes strategy, connections, and capital. That's where Playbook Investors Network comes in. We're your strategic partner for accelerating growth, navigating challenges, and capturing market opportunities before your competition does. Your business is more than an idea. Let's make it an impact. Playbook Investors Network. Your future starts here. Learn more at pincommunity.org.
To learn more about the Tech Mobility Show, start by visiting our website. I'm Ken Chester, host of the Tech Mobility Show. The website is a treasure trove of information about me and the show, as well as where to find it on the radio across the country. Keep up with the happenings at the Tech Mobility Show by visiting techmobility.show. You can also drop us a line at talk@techmobility.show.
Are you tired of juggling multiple apps and platforms for meetings, webinars, and staying connected? Look no further than aonmeetings.com, the all-in-one browser-based platform that does it all. With AON Meetings, you can effortlessly communicate with clients, host virtual meetings and webinars, and stay in touch with family and friends, all in one place and for one price. Here's the best part. You can enjoy a 30-day free trial. It's time to simplify your life and boost your productivity. aonmeetings.com, where innovation meets connection. Get started today and revolutionize the way you communicate.
You've got the drive. You've got the vision. Now you need the right partner to make it happen. At Playbook Investors Network, we power ambitious leaders with the tools, insight, and investment connections to move faster, grow stronger, and lead markets. We're more than advisors. We're your co-pilots in success. Because in business, standing still is not an option. Playbook Investors Network, fueling ambition, delivering results. Visit pincommunity.org.